Hello, hope you're well. You're watching Dragons, Dogma, ARISEN. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of Bitterblack Isle and how this sort of works in the grand scheme of things with this sort of expansion. So at Bitterblack Isle, this is where Ulra takes us to from Casadus in her little boat. And this little sort of starting area is very handy and it has everything you need. So there's the quest board over there. Behind that's a chest. This is Ulra, who we remember meeting at night time in Casadus. She does all sorts of things: purification, stored items where you've got all your stuff kept. That's where your downloadable content is. She does vocations and everything else. And this little buddy over here we're going to see quite often. He reminds me of Joey a little bit. And this is Barrett. And he does rarefication of items. So if you remember in the original, if you come across a dragon, you had the chance of getting dragon forged items with the red dragon there. But in this one we can upgrade again to silver and then gold, which is used by getting special items when you usually fight bosses and things like that most often. So I've obviously just got my carrion veil there that I'm going to need to work up to, and eventually have that forged and then find the items in order to get that pimped out. So there's lots of different things you can do there. It's probably one of my favourite parts of the expansion. And we see Barrack not just in this little particular area, but we see him as we travel on. Now this is a little spot that most people miss. There's a little secret section up the top here, and if you're with a group, obviously they're going to come over and they're going to smash those crates and everything that would be in that little section right where I'm standing here. They like to come and smash them. However, there's a barrel here that we can pick up and we can move it. If we sleep for a couple of days, they do sort of regenerate, but we can jump on top of that barrel. We actually can. It can be done. And we can double jump or jump up the top here, and because there is actually a crate up there, and there's nothing really that interesting up there usually. We're going to double jump just a little bit to the left there and into the crate here, and the rift fragment. Now, I've got all mine, hey Mr. Blarboy, from my pawn being hired out in the rift. Now, I've explained how pawns work and stuff like that before. It's all on my channel. So let's have a look at the options here to make sure your pawn is available. If you look in gameplay, down here to main pawn online access, especially friends, it's not hire a pawn for charity. Make your pawn the best one to hire and then people will get it. It's just silly to drag some sort of substandard character through everything when that person's not putting the effort into their pawn. I know it sounds hardcore, but that's just how it is. So make your pawn the best it can be by putting effort in yourself, by pimping your pawn basically. And that's how I've got all my rift crystals anyway. People go, oh, you've hacked it. That's legitimately earned through my pawn, and lots of people have got far more rift crystals than what I do. I don't need to hire them. High pawns, because the friends I have that play this game are really good. And as I've told you before, if you have a friend that plays this game and they've got a character, it doesn't cost you anything to hire them out if they're in your friends list. Sometimes this is a little bit glitchy when you're having a look at top ranked ones. So let's have a look at our top ranked people. This is overall top ranked, and as you can see, these are the sort of, as you can obviously see, that there's a sort of a bit of a pattern there with the classes that get most hired out. So take a note of that if your pawn is not getting hired out. If you've got a pawn that's, say, a fighter or a warrior, they're not the most hired ones. Sorcerers and mages and striders, and I prefer to have little rangers around me too. But this is my group at the moment. If we have a look by my friends list, we'll see that I'm kind of a little bit spoiled there with all my people, and a whole bunch of different types too. But I do like to have a warrior or a fighter with me, as you know, providing that, and I told you before in previous tutorials and things, that size does matter in this game. You don't want to have say a strider that's a big bulky thing. They're supposed to be agile, and their build does make a difference in the game. You just need to fiddle around. So when you've got a warrior and a fighter and things like that, you want them to have a little bit of beef because they are a tank. So I try and avoid warriors and fighters that are tiny in stature. That's just how I like it. Other people don't really care. It doesn't make that much of a difference then. But to me, I like to have it a certain way. So for me, I'm using my buddy Punch Beef and also Fairy. And sometimes I use Sasha and Ulra too, but this is my little setup at the moment, which I find kind of handy because I've got EPICTREASURE, which is my pawn, there, and she's a mage, and sometimes she switches out. I make her be a sorceress sometimes, but right now at level 142, her healing is quite handy, and as I said in the last in the original, that you don't need a healer by that time. But remember, most of my videos for Dragon's Dogma are like when the original came out, so the information that I had then about how to set up your parties and things like that has changed a little bit. And so as you can see, the whole party that I have here is pretty decked out. My character's got a few new items, so I need to get those Dragon Forge, I need to upgrade them. Whereas when we look at Punch Beef and Fairy, they're totally pimped out. And as you can see, I have a staff there that also will need to be upgraded anyway. So we're having a look at Fairy, my sexy ranger. She's absolutely beautiful, and Punch Beef there, which is the Hellfire stuff. There's no mucking around with that. So you can tell what people play the game in a way that evolves their characters, because they have items that you can only get via certain sort of ways to get it. For example, I've got Heaven's Key and the Aslan Blade, and the special armor from the Dragon. The people that play the original know that that's how I got it, and that's why they pick these pawns, because they're the best items. So let's have a look at the first little dungeon bit, as you love it.